Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is once again thanks to Till from Germany who sent me a lot of nice stuff. Including this film, which I had no idea was on DVD and got a chance to watch it again. I think I watched it once when I was a kid. That's Platoon Leader. And actually this has a reversible cover. We have this one, which he doesn't have those kind of muscles, so it's kind of over the top. But then there's also, put this cover on there, which is kind of similar to the, I'm not sure what the VHS cover was actually, but you have this cover here as well, Platoon Leader, and even a different bat. So it's cool that even this DVD, this kind of DVD, has a reversible cover. If you're curious, no extra features, which I didn't expect that. But I don't know if this DVD, if this film was actually on DVD in the U.S. And of course, Michael Dudikoff, I don't know where he is. It's weird on IMDb. They say they had a small part in Olympus Has Fallen and G.I. Joe 2. But for some reason, I want to think someone just made that shit up and put it on there because I never saw him in those movies. But it'd be cool to see him once again in an action movie or such. I know there's quite a bit of films I still yet to see of this guy. I mean, I enjoy American Ninja 1 and 2. I actually reviewed all 5 American Ninja films. I like the first 2 films. The second one, American Ninja 2, The Annihilation, is my favorite. American Ninja 3 I like okay, but parts 4 and 5 I ranted on, and again, all 5 of those reviews are still up on this channel. And I think he did this between American Ninja 2, and then I think the film he did after this was a film called River of Death, which unfortunately, I would like to see that film. I don't think I've ever seen that movie. And unfortunately, I don't think it's ever been released on DVD in the US. And even if there's a DVD overseas, I believe it's not in English. So that sucks. But I know I saw another one recently called Midnight Ride, which actually has Mark Hamill as the bad guy. And he's a psycho, a killer. And Michael Dudikoff has to save his wife from this guy. And I like that film. But Platoon Leader, this was made around 1988. It was actually released by the Cannon Company, Cannon Films. But this is one of those films, I don't think it was produced by Golan or Globus. It's a Cannon film, but Golan and Globus isn't anywhere near this film for some reason. And this is directed by Aaron Norris. I believe it's the only film he directed without Chuck Norris, because he's the brother of Chuck Norris. Aaron Norris, other films Aaron Norris had done, I think he did Braddock Missing Action 3. He did Delta Force 2, The Hitman, Sidekicks, Hellbound, Top Dog, The Forest Warrior. So yeah, it's definitely the only film that he did with without Chuck Norris. And I can say at the end of the day, I liked Platoon Leader. I mean, around this time you had stuff like Casualties of War with Michael J. Fox, which I really enjoy, Hamburger Hill, which I also really enjoy. I like Platoon. Really enjoy Full Metal Jacket. I haven't seen Apocalypse Now. I know I still haven't seen that film. Who knows? Maybe one day down the road I'll do like a Vietnam marathon. I don't know. But this is one of those films, and for a low budget film, this was a pretty good picture, pretty good flick. Platoon Leader. It was well done. I read online from some soldiers that they actually bought into this film, that they say, yeah, that's similar to what it really was like over there in Vietnam. These are actual soldiers or actual platoon leaders who said that. So I thought, if they say it, who am I to argue? I think this is based on a book, but I'm not sure if the book was under the same title. Yeah, James R. Madonna's Platoon Leader, a memoir. I can't even say the word, memoir. True story, Vietnam War veteran, takes place in and around a fort near a Vietnamese village in Binh province. It's a retelling of his time in Vietnam. So yeah, it's based on that book. Had a few writers on it. Andrew Deutsch, or Douche, Rick Martz and David L. Walker, and Harry Allen Towers adaptation. George S. Clinton did the music. I liked the music, even though some of the more quiet, sort of creepy music remind me so much of Full Metal Jacket. And when did Full Metal Jacket come out? 87. Okay, a year before. So, and this was 88. But I swear, you know, in Full Metal Jacket, those that creepy music, for instance, when Gomer Pyle, Vincent D'Onofrio, he kills Arlie Ermy and is ready to shoot himself. That creepy music. I'm not even going to do a good job of it, but if you see Full Metal Jacket, the scene where he ultimately kills himself in that bathroom, that very creepy music. Da, da, da. I swear the low music is, it sounds very similar. It reminded me very much. So I don't know if George S. Clinton heard that and took a page from that. But when it was supposed to be like the sort of creepy story, it reminded me so much of the Full Metal Jacket one. Not an exact copy, but it sounds very similar. But George S. Clinton, I believe he did the score to American Ninja 2 and a few other films, and I like George S. Clinton as a composer, and I liked what he did in this. I liked the piece of music. I just had to mention that it reminded me of Full Metal Jacket. In the beginning of the film, you actually have an appearance by William Smith. This is a guy, if you look at William Smith, this guy has had an interesting life. You may remember most as Conan's dad in Conan the Barbarian with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Conan's dad at the beginning of the movie. But William Smith, he's been a lot of stuff. He was in Maniac Cop, and he's been a lot of stuff, William Smith. And pretty much telling Michael Dudikoff, you know, you gotta keep your men alive, they'll keep you alive. And send this new guy played by Michael Dudikoff. He's the new lieutenant who arrives in Vietnam to lead his platoon. And amidst the platoon, you know, it's that thing you've probably seen before where, you know, you haven't served your time, man, but you think you can be bossing us around, so they kind of give him a little bit of crap, or, you know, Dudikoff is new to that place. And you have this guy, this sergeant, played by Robert F. Lyons, who he seems to know more what's going on, more on what to do, and he's saying you can't follow the rule book, you can't do this, can't do that. Yes, you have Brian Libby. He was the guy who was the killer in Silent Rage. He plays a sergeant on there. He does a good job with it. But anyway, Dudikoff is trying to learn the ropes and gain the respect of his men. They go through the night. And you have a lot of interesting scenes. Like you have a moment where they're right in the brush and they're hidden on the ground, and a bunch of VC just go right by them. And there's a little bit suspenseful scene. Like, are they going to find these guys, or are they going to be caught? And I mean, they're just right there hiding on the ground with their camouflage as the VC goes by. And the action scenes at times are pretty well done. They're pretty well done, especially a scene that I'll talk about later, where you have, you know, actual helicopters and a big battleground over here, and like real helicopters going and shooting missiles and blowing the shit out of this field. And it shows even with low budgets, Canon could really produce some pretty damn decent action. That I think they should look at this and use it for action movies of today. But it shows sort of a little bit of the horrors of war. Like Dudikoff says, we should take these two alive, but they chase the two, and the sergeant gets pissed, so they have to torch the field. They're attacked, and they shoot this VC in the trees. And it also shows Dudikoff's inexperience. Like he sees this trap, he sees this place that goes into the tunnels underground, and the sergeant stops him and picks at it, and there's a venomous snake there that would have hit Dudikoff. Also, Dudikoff trips over a damn tripwire, and a bomb goes off, and he gets injured. So he heals up, and he goes right back into there. So it's kind of interesting that Dudikoff's playing a guy who, again, he's new, and despite what he looks on either one of these covers, he's not Chuck Norris. I'm gonna go in one man army, kill everything and anything, which I don't mind those films. I actually like those films. But it's not like that with Michael Dudikoff in this flick. He's not going in one man army, killing everything in sight. So I guess you could say this is a bit more realistic. That'd probably be the right word I'd use on it. You have some fun bits like when he comes back, all the soldiers return all the stuff they stole from Dudikoff's little hut because they thought wasn't going to come back. Some nice, good emotional moments where this guy tells Dudikoff, this girl passes by, and he tells him the story what happened to her, and he ends by saying, what do you say to a girl whose arm you shut off? And they later find that girl dead, and apparently she got killed because she was helping the Americans. So they find a bunch of VC at this waterfall, and all of them at the same time throw their grenades, and boom, just kill all the VC. I like the use of slow-mo. The slow-mo in here is used effectively. It's used in the right way. Sometimes they use it in a very, just a crap-ass bullshit fashion, but here I thought it was used good enough. And it just shows certain firefights. Like there's a firefight where this medic gets hit and he's dying, and he covers his baby so that the baby's safe. The radio guy, who I like the radio guy, he gets hit and ultimately dies of his wounds. Uh, Brian Libby, whose name is Roach, I'm thinking, oh, he's the psycho from Silent Rage. Don't fuck with this guy, and fucks up people with a shotgun. Even to a point where, kind of like before Dolph Lundgren, and he doesn't go psycho, but it just reminded me because it's an ear scene where this sort of reporter, but sort of not, is talking to him, and he goes, "Well, I want to hear more. Want to hear more?" And he goes, "Oh, you want to hear some more? Hear this," and puts just fucking ears right by him, and he answers by, "I was just trying to be helpful. You want to hear more? Hear this." That made me laugh, and it's kind of sick as well. And you've hearing stories that kind of stuff did happen. They did cut the ears off of their enemy. I mean, I even heard that in that Bruce Willis film I reviewed a while ago, In Country. There was a bit in there about that as well. And then Universal Soldier, a lot of ear cutting in Vietnam films, I guess. Don't think they had that in a Rambo film, but. And you even have this moment where I thought it was an interesting moment. Like, they get new recruits, and then they pull this sort of, they have this guy sweep mines, and Brian Libby tells him to hold this, and he goes to take a piss, and comes back, and snips it, and is like, you see what I did there? You don't have to do the next one. And you even have this moment where a guy who's a druggie, Michael Dudikoff finds it and sets him straight. When he's walking, the guy fires a fucking grenade launcher right at Dudikoff, and it misses him, and he goes, "Oops, I guess I misfired my weapon, didn't I?" I thought Michael Dudikoff, I thought he did a good job acting-wise here. Especially this scene where he just lets in on him, lets a rip on this guy, says, "You little fuck." He's like, "You better pray the next time that hits me in the back, because if it doesn't, you little fuck, I'm going to splatter your brains up and down." I thought he did a good job. And later that same guy ODs on drugs. And pretty much you have certain firefights. Like I said, that scene where it's at night and a bunch of VCs storm the little base that they have. And they're just basically firing left and right. And they call in the choppers. And again, really well done because it's real helicopters shooting, looks like real missiles into this damn field. And I thought, man, it just goes to show you that a low-budget film like this can have a real helicopter shooting real, it looked real enough to me, missiles at a field, fuck up, VC and stuff, but yet, in big-budget films, they can't do this kind of stuff. This film, I don't know how much this film cost. I don't know if it says here. No, it doesn't. Apparently only made 1.3 million, which is pretty damn sad. Pretty pathetic, actually. I mean, $1.3 million? What the hell? Yeah, no production budget. Shit. That's just fucking sad. Basically, if you wonder what I'm doing, trying to see. It didn't even show, like, even Box Office Mojo doesn't show the weekend it was released. A lot of times you can click and see the weekend they were released on. It doesn't even show that. God damn. And pretty much it's one thing leads to another, and they have to go in and protect this village. One of their sergeants, sort of the second lead of the film, gets hurt. Dudikoff and his men are going in, taking care of the VC, but unfortunately they lose the village, but they did fight off the VC. So it's kind of, they lost, but in a way they kind of did some stuff, which I guess, it's probably more typical in Vietnam than you would want to think. But this is, even Dudikoff, he gets hurt. He gets like his eye fucked up by shrapnel. And again, the ending, it kind of caught me off for a bit because, I'm thinking this is canon films. I thought it'd be Michael Dudikoff coming in just mowing people down, but this isn't Missing in Action. This isn't Rambo. This is something going for a bit more realistic. And when I thought of that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can understand that. It's not like Michael Dudikoff coming in a one-man army. Um, it's more of his men doing the work, but him trying to do the best that he can. But again, the village is getting bombed, and I think Dudikoff says once they knew that they couldn't win it, they wanted to destroy it. But you visit that guy in the hospital, and then when the guy comes back, Dudikoff says, "Hey, welcome back," and that's sort of the ending of the movie. So it's not like it ends with them going back to America or such a like. It's just them, going back to another mission. But what I liked about the film, I thought the acting was fine. I thought Michael Dudikoff did a good job acting wise. When the action happens, it's not. I wouldn't say it's over the top action. It's more of a realistic action. Uh, it's to me, it's kind of like Hamburger Hill, but I would say I like Hamburger Hill more. I mean, I would say of the realistic action, like Missing Action, Uncommon Valor, uh, Rambo films. I enjoy those films the most, but it's not like you had people going back into Vietnam like Uncommon Valor and doing that and stuff. But I still really love those films. But stuff that movies about, actually, now that I think about it, most of those films, except maybe Missing Action 2, was stuff that took place after the Vietnam War. So movies specifically in the Vietnam War at that time, like Platoon, Casualties of War, Hamburger Hill and stuff, I would say Hamburger Hill uh, may be my favorite. Then like Casualties of War. I mean, Missing Action 2, I guess I could put that in there, but that's more of a one-man army. Well, at least by the end, it's more of a popcorn movie for me. Missing Action 2. I love Missing Action 2, but and when I say that, I don't mean to pick on it because so many people pick on Missing Action 2. I think it's bullshit. I would say it's my personal favorite of the Missing Action films. Missing Action 2, the beginning. It gets picked on too much, in my opinion. But this is more trying to be more realistic. I guess that's the best way to put it. Uh, and I could appreciate it for that. And I thought the acting was well done. I thought the score was decent. I thought the scenery, it looked like they were in Vietnam. It didn't look fake to me. When the action happened, it was well done. Especially that scene I was talking about when you had the big battle. The ending, if I have any bothers, the ending was kind of there. Just maybe because it's supposed to be more realistic. That the fact that they did pretty much lose the village, even though they say in the line dialogue that the village is being rebuilt as we speak. it still seems like, well, they fought off the VC, but they didn't really win. But maybe that's, more real. And even if I look at that, I mean, Hammer Hill to me had a bit more impact, more emotional impact. And if this film tried to have an emotional impact on that, I'm not going to say it failed, but it worked better in Hammer Hill, for instance. Or I would say even worked a bit better, say, in Platoon or Full Metal Jacket than this film. I mean, I would say I like Full Metal Jacket more. I like Hammer Hill more. I like Casualties of War more. But Platoon Leader, for a film that no one really talks about, this film should have a DVD in the U.S. I mean, yeah, the ending, I would have liked Michael Dudikoff to do a bit more. And I don't know what it is about the ending. It kind of was just sort of there. I don't want to say that it didn't wrap everything up, but maybe that's what I'm trying to go for. I don't know what I'm trying to go for. Because it's like they get to the village and they shoot a couple, but then Dudikoff gets blinded by the shrapnel, and then the village is burning down. Then he visits the guy, and then the guy later on comes back into the unit. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's the end. I don't know what it was. Maybe because the action on the at night with the helicopters coming and stuff, that to me was like the big action scene of the film. And so the next one really was just sort of, it was okay, it was there. You just say maybe it blew its wad a little too early. I don't know. But other than that, it's well acted. The score's decent. Again, I've heard people who were in Vietnam. They liked the film. They thought it was a good representation, and they would know a lot more than me. Again, for a low budget film, the action scenes were well done. But it's not wall-to-wall action. Don't expect us going to see wall-to-wall action, wall-to-wall shootout. It's supposed to be, they're going for a little bit more of a realistic take on it. And it has a little bit of emotion to it, but I would not say it made me feel as much as Full Metal Jacket or Casualties of War or Hammer Hill. I mean, he tries for a little bit. I don't think it's as successful as those movies, but still does a decent job at that. But either way, that's Platoon Leader. I don't know what more I can say. It's a decent film. It's definitely, I think, one of Dudikoff's better films. I mean, I would say I like American Ninja 1 and 2 better. I'd probably say I like Avenging Force a bit better. Uh, to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of Dudikoff films now. Think about it. American Ninja 1 and 2. Avenging Force, this one. I haven't really seen his other stuff. But, I probably like this a bit more than Midnight Ride. I would say I put this above Midnight Ride with Mark Hamill and Dudikoff. But I thought Aaron Norris did a good job directing this. The cast did fine. It was cool to see Brian Libby in there. And yeah, Dudikoff I thought did a good job with his lead role. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. And stay tuned for another review.